Well, you've made it. Now we're on our third and final video, quadratic graphs. Let's go ahead and enter this function into our graphing calculator. Go to y equals, and we'll enter x squared minus 4x minus 12. In this video, we're going to talk about some specific things. A couple of these things we have already used in the previous lessons: how to find zeros and how to find the y-intercept. So let's hit graph. One of the things you might notice is that I cannot see my entire parabola. This is where adjusting your window would come in handy. If you'll click on your window button, we're going to make an adjustment. Now, I actually want you to go back to the graph because let's talk about where the adjustment needs to be made. I need to see further down on my y-axis. Right now, my y-axis only goes to -10, and I can tell that this graph goes much further. So why don't we at least double that and make that -20? Go back to the window button, and you can see the y minimum is the one that I need to adjust. If I make this, I'll clear it. If I make this into -20 and go back to my graph, now I can easily see my vertex of my parabola. So that brings us to step number 3. We need to find our minimum or our maximum. Remember that if the vertex is at the bottom of your parabola, that is your minimum. If the vertex is at the top of your parabola, it is at your maximum. This is important because when we are using the calculator to find the minimum or the maximum, we have to specify which one we're looking for. In this particular graph, it's going to be a minimum. Let's use the second trace feature again. You can see we have used how to find a value, and we have used finding zeros, but we haven't used anything else on this menu. Now it's time to choose between number 3 or number 4. As we said before, our vertex is a minimum, so we're going to choose number 3. Now the calculator is going to give us instructions again, just like it did when we were finding the x-intercepts. It's going to say left bound. That simply means that you need to have your cursor on the left side of your vertex. Once you get it onto the left side of your vertex, you can hit enter. Now it says right bound. Move your cursor to the right side of your vertex. Once you are there, hit enter. And now it says guess. You don't need to move anymore. You can simply hit enter one more time. It's going to jump to this lowest point, and it says the word minimum, so you know that it has calculated it. The minimum of this parabola is found at 2, -16. That is also my vertex. Now we'll move on to step number 4, finding the zeros of the function. We know that the zeros occur when the parabola crosses the x-axis. This particular parabola crosses at 2 points, and I could probably make an educated guess at what those points are. It looks like -2 and +6, but let's double check. We'll use the calculator to get a precise location. If you remember, these are the solutions to this function, but I also taught you another word. We can call these the zeros of the function. So go to your second trace menu and choose number 2. Since there are 2 of them, I have to decide which one I'm going to find first. I'm going to find the 0 that is on the left. So when the calculator tells me to go left bound, I need to go to the left of that 0. Once I am on the left side of this point, I'll hit enter. You can see that the calculator draws a line. Now it says right bound, so I'll move to the right of this point. Hit enter, and it's going to draw another line. These are like boundary points. We want to make sure that the x-intercept lies in between these two lines. Now the calculator says guess. We can hit enter one more time. It jumps to the point, and I can see that this intersection occurs at -2, 0. Let's do it one more time for the other side. I'll go to second trace. I'm going to choose number 2. And this time it says left bound, and I need to get closer to the other point. Even though I am moving closer, I still want to remain on the left side of that point. So I'll stop about here and hit enter. Now it says right bound. So let's go past that point and make sure that we're on the right, and then hit enter. Now it says guess. We'll hit enter one more time. It jumps to the point of intersection, and the label is down here at the bottom of the screen. This x-intercept is located at 6, 0. Now we'll move on to step 5. This is the final thing that you need to find, your y-intercept. And if you remember, the y-intercept occurs when x is equal to 0. Anytime we know a value for x, we can use the value feature on our calculator. And we will find that by going to second trace. Option number 1 calculates values. I'm going to enter the value x equals 0 and hit enter. It tells me that y is equal to -12. So my y-intercept is located at 0, -12. All right, let's look at your assignment and see what you need to do. Just like the last assignment, these functions will be given to you in the correct form, so you can enter them into your calculator, just as they are here. After you've done that, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and sketch your graph. To find your minimum or your maximum, you have to decide, is the vertex at the bottom of your graph, or is it at the top of your graph? Then you're going to use the second trace feature to find the minimum or the maximum. The zeros of the function are your x-intercepts. You will use the second trace function to find these as well. To find your y-intercept, you'll also go to second trace, and this time you're going to use value.